Good morning, all of you. Let us start the class. Today, I'm going to start the new unit 3. In this class, we will start with the production analysis. First, we will see what are the factors of production and how to construct the production function. And we'll end up the class with the Cope-Douglas production function. That is the portion that we are going to discuss today. Before discussing about the production function, first we should know what is production is. That means it is a process which will convert the raw material into the final product. In technical term, we may say converting the input into output. The input may be ideas or information or even service product is there possible. So converting the input into output is called production. For that, we construct a particular function. How this input and output is related, then it is nothing but it is production function. For your sake, I'm just reading that particular definition. Production is a process or method used to transform tangible inputs and intangible inputs. What are the tangible inputs? It may be raw material, it may be semi-finished, or it may be assembled products, support, whichever be. Intangible means the qualitative factor. Converting, that is transforming these inputs into the required output. It may be a goods and services. In simple words, production is a process of converting the input into the required output. So we can simply say converting the raw material into finished product is called production. Then how this production is imagined? Understand one thing. Production is not creating a new thing. It is changing the shape of the product. For example, take a carpenter or a blacksmith. How he is doing the work? Already the wood is available. He is changing the shape and he is making into different pieces and he is connecting with the required shape. Then it will become a chair or a table. So here production is nothing but converting the shape of the quality of the or what to say purpose of the requirement should be achieved. For that we are changing the shape. But in economic sense it is very different. Why? Because suppose take a blacksmith, he is changing the form of iron, but that iron is coming from the nature. Why we are saying we are not producing the, we are only converting the shape of the goods. In both cases, it is not a creation of goods. It makes available only thing useful than before. For example, the man is extracting the nature and provide a new form. What we have to keep in mind, be clear with the thing. Increasing the utility of the available natural resources is nothing but the production. What type of utility? There are 3 types of utility. The first one is form utility. The second one is time utility. The third one is place utility. Suppose you are changing the shape of the given nature, it is called form utility. Wood will become chair or iron will become steel chair. This is called form utility. By changing the place, from moving from one place to a required place, then it is called, it is also production, but it is called place utility. That is transforming the goods from abundance to the scarcity place. Then it is called place utility. This is also called production only in economic sense. The third one is the time utility. It's nothing but when we transform that particular goods where when it is time of scarcity, then it is called time utility. But all these things coming under production only. So what are the types of utility? Types of utility is of 3 types. One is form utility, place utility, and time utility. Based on this utility only, we are getting the required output. Where we are getting the natural resources. What are the natural resources? We should have 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. So any product will have a part of this contribution from these 4 factors of production. So for these 4 factors of production, that is land, labor, and capital and organization, there will be a remuneration for that. For land, we have to pay the rent. For labor, we have to pay the wage. For interest, we have to pay the interest. That is capital, we have to pay the interest. And for the administration and entrepreneurship, we have to it will reap the profit. So for each factors of production, there will be a remuneration. So how we have to make this particular thing convenient? Understand a particular thing. Any transaction is with a two major factor. One is called production, another one is called consumption. So our human activities is divided into two. One is production, another one is consumption. Production is a process of converting these land, labor, capital, organization into their required output. Input may be extracted from land, labor, capital. But when these factors of production combine in an order and produce something, the fourth factor is required. Why? Because how much land should be used, how much manpower is required, and how much money I have to invest. All these things, only the fourth factor will do. So the goods and services do not produce themselves, but it requires some conscious thought process in order to plan or implement that particular manufacturing process. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So production is a process of converting input into output. That input is nothing from the source of land, labor, capital, and organization. So what I want to say in this particular class, let's have a basic idea about the four factors of production. So the following flow chart will be helpful for us to understand what the factors of production are. There are certain features or certain special quality for each factors of production. If you take a land, actually the land is a free gift of nature, and it cannot it will not change in size. Why? Because it is already available. There is a maximum limit is that it's fixed supply. Understand one thing, it is imperishable. It is not perishable. It is a long lasting one. How you are converting, the quality of land may differ, but it never perish. And finally, I may say, out of four factors of production, this particular factor is considered as a primary factor of production. With the main quality is it is immovable. The other three are movable factors, but the land is the only factor of production. It is called immovable as such. And from land to land, the fertility rate may increase. So these are some of the feature of land. Why I'm saying, once you know the feature of particular factor of production, then you can easily take a decision how to apply that. Then next to the land, the most important factor of production is a labor. Right? The thing is, it is comparatively more perishable than other factors. Why? Because based on that, the health will vary. One particular day he may work well, the next day he may feel sick and he will not work. So it is not possible to say it's a constant homogeneous. It is not homogeneous. So, but one thing, it is a very active factors of production compared to other three, because without him nothing will happen. Keep it in mind, the labor, one labor never have a equals with the another labor. The skill and other factors will differ, and it may move from one place to another. That is the advantage of the manpower. Finally, it has a bargaining power. So compared to other two, the labor is better than capital and organization. The primary is land. Next to that, it is labor. What are the other two factors of production? It is capital and organization. Capital is considered to be a lifeline of a business. Without this, nothing will happen. The only thing is, compared to labor, it is a high mobility. It is a man-made factor. It is not a natural factor. It's a financial resource. Land is a natural resource. Labor is a human resource. This capital is a financial resources. It may be physical, or it may be money, or it may be a human capital, or it may be any material, or whichever be. But finally, what is the lifeline of that? It should be expressed in the money value. That is the only thing. The most important thing for future or past will never be bird in hand, working two in bush. Like that, if you have money in your hand, you are considered to be a successful personality. So capital is that much important. Finally, the entrepreneurship, the fourth factor of production, the organization. In this, there are some features. The ultimate remuneration for organization is profit, and deciding the location of how much land should be used and who are all should be appointed, how much money should be invested. For all these factors, this particular factor will administer. That is why it has more power than the other three. So this particular hierarchy helpful for us to understand the factors of production. And now from the production and the types of production, now we are moving to the production function. Understand one thing, production function is nothing but it is a system how the input and output are related. It must be a function of n number of inputs. How this n number of inputs converted into a required output is nothing but when you express or when you make a statement or when you define this is what input is going to be converted like this, then it is called production function. So before explaining in detail about the production function, first we should know the types. There are different types. How these types of production function will be there? It's nothing but based on the input we can define the production function. Based on the relationship we can define the production function, and finally based on the degree of input, that is how it is combined. So before explaining about this particular production list of production function, first let us define what is production function is. I have given two definition. One is by DJ Stigler. According to him, the definition goes like this: the production function is the name given to the relationship between rates of input of productive services and the rate of output of the product. And it is an economic summary of technological knowledge. See, he made a very clear statement that it is expressing the relationship between the input and output with a given level of technology. But what is the general definition for production function? It's very easy to say. It is a statement or an equation which shows what are all the input is used to in order to get the required output with a respective combination of that particular input. How we are getting our required output for a given period with a given technology. This is the best definition. The definition goes like this. So I just give the meaning. Now I'm going to read the definition. Production function is a statement or equation which shows different combination or a set of input factors or services with the rate of output of respective combination of inputs for a given period of time and technology. So here the technology is concerned, the time is given, and there will be a set of input. How this set of input is converted into the required output, that is nothing but when you make a statement or when you make an equation or when you show it is the relation between the input and output, it's nothing but production function. So this particular production function is classified into variety of things based on three factors considered. What type of input it is, how they are related, and what is the degree of the input. So when we consider these three factors, there are different combinations. First we'll see with the proportion of input. With the proportion of input, we may say it may be a linear, or it may be a non-linear, or it may be a homogeneous or heterogeneous. So likewise, when you decide something, for example, what is a functional relationship, then we can easily say it may be homogeneous or it may be a heterogeneous. So homogeneous means it's linear. Suppose heterogeneous, more than one relation is there, then it is not linear, it's non-linear. So there will be some changes in that. Understand one thing, suppose the degree of input of substitution is there, then we have different classification. One is called Gob-Douglas production function. Second one is Leontief production function. Third one is CES production function. CES means constant elasticity of substitution production function. Understand one thing, our syllabus is mentioning only the linear production function, nothing but the Gob-Douglas production function. We should know only the Gob-Douglas production function. This particular production function given by two economists of America, Charles W. Cobb and Paul H. Douglas. These two people have run the survey from 1899 to 1922, more than 23 years. They have conducted a survey with the manufacturing unit, and finally they derived one particular equation. That equation is nothing but production function. The left hand side Q is the output, the right hand side there are few variables, that is input. So what is the relation between these two? It's nothing but the production function. Q equal to A into K power A, L into B power B. That is the equation where Q is the required output. What is A? It is a positive constant. And what is the capital K? It is nothing but capital. That is amount invested. L is the labor. Here the A and B, small a and small b, it's nothing but the elasticity coefficient of the output. It's a simple regression equation only. So suppose A plus B equal to 1 means constant return to scale. Suppose it is less than 1, it is not increasing, it is decreasing. More than 1, it is increasing return. In this particular unit, we will see both the law of variable proportion and law of return to scale. By the time, I will explain in detail about what is return to scale. So what we have to write in this particular thing is nothing but that particular equation. What equation? Q equal to capital A into K power small a into L power B. Here B we termed as constant. Suppose it under constant return to scale, B is nothing but 1 minus A. So we change the equation as Q equal to A into K power A and L into L power 1 minus A. Suppose if you write this particular thing, suppose I ask what is Cope-Douglas production function, then you have to define what is production is, and you have to say what is production function trying to mean, and then you have to say what are the types, and finally in linear production function, Cope-Douglas production function is a right example. Mention the author name, mention the period of research, and then write this equation and give that particular thing, and it holds good in the constant return to scale. If you write like this, you can score all 8 marks. With this, I am completing the class. Have any doubt, you can ask me.